Morning, the Eco Gypsy here. Just been a sticking out this thing. Hadn't had a chance recently to do too much videoing. I've been a bit consumed with burrito vans and running about up and down the road to sort that all out. But I thought it's about time really we've done an update on the UNI DOME. About a year ago, almost exactly a year ago, we'd done a project with Channel 4's Amazing Spaces, George Clark's Amazing Spaces programme. And I was quite lucky here. I've got two places I've done with those. One is the railway carriage that we live in, which I will do an update of eventually as well. And the other one was the UNI DOME. It was the site I live on was an old Anglian Waters site, and the original brickwork was here for the original filter bed and the tank. They'd done a really good programme, and that was it come across quite well. But I think they could only put a certain amount of things in it, so a lot of the details got missed. And I've done some filming at night time with the lights all on. There's a lot of lights in there, and it looks like a bloody spaceship. So I thought if I could just, I like the building a bit more now, settled in a little bit more, and it's weathered in a little bit more, and the roof looks a bit nicer, and it's not quite so fresh looking. What we're going to do, if the weather holds, we're just going to do a little walk around and just show you how it looks now, before since the cameras are gone. So it's and I'll show you a bit more of the details and maybe the things that got missed with the TV guys. I mean, I suppose they got 15 minutes to get everything in that they needed to get in, so they're not going to get everything in that time. But anyway, so hopefully some of this will be interesting. And then we've got a few new projects on the pipeline coming up. Hopefully once we can we've got to get back onto the workshop fairly soon so I can get that watertight, because winter's coming. Alright, keep watching. Okay, so this is the UNI DOME. This is the end result really of about 12-14 weeks work. Now this is the original filter bed, like you see on a lot of places, the old sewage works. The brickwork is where, excuse the divvy dog, I don't know what she's done on the roof. What are you doing? Anyway, it's a year old now, and I think it sits on the ground a lot better now. It looks a lot nicer than when it was new. Anyway, we'll just take you for a little walk around. The light's pretty crap. We're now losing the daylight, but this here, we've just put a little herb bed in here which has actually suffered with the sun. But underneath here is a big drain, a big tank which the water from the pond overflows into, and it goes into the drains. And it was a big concrete sort of bunker looking thing, so we just put that over the top to make it look a little nicer. We've got a little fairy house here. It's where the fairies cook their dinner. And we've built some of these windows, and I've bought some windows, and we ended up with some wash machine windows, and we've put in like the bottle bottoms, cut some bottle bottoms, and I've got some little shot glasses there, and anything that would fit in the holes, because I only actually had 2 hole drills. What's happening? And so we've some clock fronts in there and stuff. So the windows are all just made up of glass and bits and pieces we had left over from previous builds, and sort of odds and sods. There's some more light bulbs there, I think you can see them if you zoom in. horrendous camera work. Anyway, here's a shot of the entrance. Always fancied doing one of these sort of doors. Oh, let me show you these. This telegraph pole's completely hollow. It's had the woodpecker in it, so we made some little fairy houses there as well. There's one there. If you hear the pole, it's nearly completely hollow. I've been right through that. Anyway, this is a door. It's the most impractical, useless door ever, but considering we're not living in it, it was it's just a bit of fun really. I shall demonstrate. Dun, dun, dun. So we made this up out of some old driftwood we found on the beach and 2 sheets of plyboard laminated together, and we've routed it so it looks like planking. Don't know if you can see that in this light. It's very late in the day. You probably see it a bit better that side. Anyway, we've got the resin floor. I've never done one of these before, but it was these are all offcuts from the roof beams that we used. Set them in a dry mix on the floor and sealed them up, and then put the resin over the top. It's quite effective, nice. So yeah, we've got some nice reclaimed oak steps here. I'm going to take you up into the main tank in a minute, which was the original storage tank. I've got to show you these details. These two are 2 earthenware pipes that were actually in the main filter bed. We've used them as little portholes with some nice stained glass in there. So they work really nicely at night. As you'll see with the evening stuff, you'll get little different light shows as you're walking around it. So there's some northern fella who kept popping in when we was building the place. Anyway, this area I'm stood in now was all basically soil and pipe work. So the pipes came down. There was a wall in here, which took us about a week and a half to cut through with some kangos, so it's all fairly solid. And them steps are actually the thickness of the whole tank. Bear in mind that this whole area would have been full of waste water, so it was a lot of pressure on the walls and on the sides, so they built the walls really thick and the floors really thick to take the water pressure. Anyway, we've made this into quite a nice little study area. Again, we've got pallet floors, the wood panelling on the walls. Everything in here is either been donated or claimed or found or whatever. So a bit of a shelving here, some old clocks, some pictures and stuff I picked up. We've got a little chill out bed area up here, the little reading lights. Now this whole area was where they used to pump the water into. So they pumped in that little hole at the top there. That's where all the water came in, and it filled up until it got up to the level of that tank at the back, or that concrete at the back, and this concrete, and then it overflowed and went down into the pipes and out into the main filter bed. So we've done a nice job on this, I think, just to make it into a nice sort of cosy area really. It's lovely in here in the winter time when the burner's lit. You just get it's just a really sort of nice place to chill out in. Right, so if you can see directly in front, see if I can zoom in on that. There's a crystal ball just on top of where that tank is. And there's one main pipe that ran all the way through there, and then it ran out and into the outside tank where that big tap was. So let's walk through into the main gig. Anyway, this is the main inside. I say anyone who's seen the program's probably seen. This is our roof. A self-articulating, self-supporting roof. We've got some more resin here. This is my missus's watch collection that got poured into the floors. Can you see them? Most of the wood in here is, well, all the wood in here is recycled. So these are all pallets. The big beams there that you can see, that's all driftwood, sleepers. The windows, sills and all the window frames are all recycled stuff. These two nice bits that were given to me as a present from my dad. I don't know where he got them from, but quite pretty. Done a bit more resin detail in there, which is just all bits and pieces we had left over. Let's fill that space in because it's actually got off the floor behind that. Let's go up here. So you can see the edge of the pond. These are just all offcuts and bits of firewood really that we cut down so they're all the same size. But probably the only bit of wood I did buy is this scaffold board flooring that we put in. When we emptied this out, you can see, if you look to the door there, from the floor to the door is 7 foot. So it's really, when we got it empty, it was very difficult to see how it was going to work really. So we had to put this sort of like mezzanine floor in, so you could then get the views out. Because obviously, otherwise, you wouldn't be able to see out. Just to get the effect, we had to put the flooring in. So fish are all swishing about. These copper pipes here, when it rains, they're the down pipes for the guttering. So the water comes into the pond, filling the pond up, and then it overflows out and into the ground drain that I was talking about earlier. This tap was here originally, but on the outside, so I've had to re-weld that up and sort it all out and put it in as a little bit of a feature. We've just got a filter running at the minute just to try and keep the water as clean as possible. And get the burner lit in here. It's quite a nice little, quite a nice warm atmosphere really. It's strange because it maintains its temperature sort of fairly much constantly all year. You imagine most of it's up, well, half of it's underground, so it does keep quite a nice sort of ambient temperature in here. So the insides of the rafters we filled up with bottles. Stig of the dump style. So gives quite a nice effect, and what you find is at night time you get different lights coming through from different areas. These two roof lights are morning, you get the morning sun straight in here beaming in, and then there's two over that side which is the sunset, and then obviously you've got your main roof there like that. It's got a very special feeling in here. You generally find if you sat in here for an hour or two, you end up falling asleep. It's got quite a sort of hypnotic thing going on with the water and just the circle, you get a bit of music in here and a bottle of beer down here. It's quite a pleasant place to sit. I think I need to invest in a better tripod so I can do stuff a bit smoother. But we quite often sit in here and just hang out a little bit, do you know what I mean? It's quite, I think sometimes when you're living in trailers and doing what we're doing, it's quite important just to have a bit of your own space and get the hell away from each other for a little while, you know. The roof again, it's a bit of fun for me. I've never done one, and friends of mine had never done one, so we just wanted to have a go really, and it's come out beautifully. We've done the wood in between is all pallet wood, so it's all reclaimed pallet wood. The main beams are sweet chestnut, and we've got the, I don't know if you can see the pegs there. My good friend Nutty carved some pegs, so it's all been pegged up with robinia. So robinia pegs, sweet chestnut poles. Sweet chestnut's a really strong structural wood, so it works very well as for building structural stuff. The only thing you've got to do is you've got to seal the end grain, because if you don't seal the end grain, they end up splitting. And what I've done is, I'll show you in a little while, we've done like a wax seal and sealed all the exposed end joints just to stop them splitting. Anyway, I've done some filming at night, so you can see it's really got a very, very special feeling at night time in here. It's got a really nice vibe with the lights, and we've got all sorts of different lighting effects and things in here. All runs off 12 volt. But we took probably 100 ton of ash rock out of this, which I used to do the filtering with, and when the space was empty, it was a bit hard to sort of envisage what the hell we were going to do with it really. So I had to play. I really wanted to, this is sort of like my experimental play thing really, just to show off a bit and just to see if we could use some techniques we hadn't used before. It's 13 o'clock obviously. Right, so they're the waxed, it's just basically melted down candle wax that we've put on the ends of these beams just to stop them from opening up, and it seems to work really well. I mean, considering the summer we've had there, you're seeing that one's a little bit on the ends, but I've had some laid out in the yard and they've gone like bananas once they get that sun on them, so the wax has worked really, really well. The other thing I'll show you is how well that seed has settled in. It's quite orange when we first done it, and it stained the pond a lot of tea colour. It's now starting to go a bit silvery, so it's got a really nice sort of look to it. The other thing worth mentioning, probably for anyone who wants to do a circular building, these gutters are an absolute arseache, and we had to make each individual gutter bracket at a separate angle. So because it's not perfectly circular, you've got some of them which are straight, some of them are 33 degrees, some of them are almost 45s. So we had to basically suss out how to make each of these joining brackets, and then to try and get the falls right, we've got a fall at the front which goes directly into the tank, and then the two falls at the back that that run through the copper pipes. So it was quite a interesting few days trying to get them bloody running right. Anyway, there's a bit more on the roof there. So I think you'll agree, considering this was totally derelict and not doing anything over here, we've now got a useful functioning space and somewhere where I can get out of the way of the kids and they can get out of the way of me. So I don't think my bushes are done very well. I'm going to tag the stuff I've done at night on the end of this because it's a completely different looking building at night with the lights on, and it does look like a massive spaceship. In fact, one of the locals asked me before we got the cedar shingles on, and we had silver insulation on it over the roof. It did look like a massive flying saucer, and he was asking me what I was building, and I told him I was going to be building a flying saucer so I could get back off to my own planet. And he seemed quite chuffed about that, but sadly it didn't happen. It does look like a massive gypsy spaceship at night time. But like I was saying, I prefer it now to when it was fresh and new. It's all sort of settled in, it all looks like it's been there for years. And I think when you've done this sort of stuff out of old material, that's the look you want. I was trying to achieve. I don't want a brand new building here. You know, I could have knocked it down and put a prefab on here or done lots of other options, and probably for the same sort of money, if not less. But I'm chuffed we kept the brickwork, and it's quite wibbly and wobbly like everything else around here, but fits in quite well. Use your imagination for this shot, but this is basically one of the reasons I've done the whole Uni Dome project. Is this is my front room window, so this is what I sit and look out of when I'm having my cups of tea in the morning. Now just use your imagination and imagine a fantastic workshop there which is all mega looking and sexy. Imagine that transit park there and all that wood's not there. And we were just looking at a big pile of shit and brambles and mess. So now I can look out my window and go, oh, that looks nice. And then I can walk over there and look at this and think, oh, this is nice. But if that window weren't there, we probably wouldn't have bothered. Kind of glad we did, it's sort of come out well. Anyway, enjoy all the nighttime stuff, and thanks for watching. Okay, stay tuned. So I'm not sure how this is going to come out. It's pitch black out here, so I just wanted to get a little bit of nighttime stuff. This is something that the Channel 4 guys couldn't do for the show, but it looks absolutely amazing at night. So I'll try and do a little bit of a close-up, see if you can see in the roof. Got like a little halo. I'll do a walk around so you can see the stained glass as well. It's a shame they couldn't have filmed some nighttime stuff because it's been raining tonight, so it's a bit steamy looking. And the stained glass looks really cool at night. As you can see, we've got fairly much glass in everywhere there's a little hole or a gap. We've got a reflection from the tank that bounces back up into the top dome, so it looks like the like a halo in there. All these glass panels were waste, leftover bits of stained glass I had, and I'd have made up into these little panels. Are all individual pieces. This one here is quite nice. It's got, you can see that very well, some little boats on them. So I'll attempt to show you some of the lighting we've got in here. Got the standard LED strip lights. Got these cool things in here which are, I got these from an auto jumble. I think they're Vauxhall Viva, but they look quite nice as little uplighters, little sort of Art Deco-y uplighters. We've got some more LEDs in here just to go around that top Mollycroft roof. And up in the little chill out area we've got some old 1960s bus lights that I had from an old coach. They make nice little reading lights. Nice white light in here, so you've got a nice pure white down light, and then there's some other bits and pieces that I'll show you in just a second. So we've got a little bit different things going on in that. Got the trombone light up there, some little battery lights, and that one's a little boat light. Just gives a really nice vibe in here if you're in here in the evenings just reading a book or whatever. It's a nice atmosphere. Got a completely different sort of atmosphere about it and vibe about it in the night time. Put these on, and in the main building I've got two different configurations. We've got some just standard LEDs that are going up the rafters here, and we've got the pond lights. It's been raining a bit, so you can see the rain's coming in these pipes. It's only dripping in, but when it really rains it comes in here really sort of quite heavily. And if you turn off those ones, it's quite a nice little, if you can see, let's see if I can get a good shot of this. So you can see there, we've got this time of night, you get the dark sky outside, you get a really wonderful reflection of the pond and the inside of the roof. It's quite a weird one, you sort of get like a double reflection. I've got more of these coach lights in here. They're lovely if you sat underneath them. Gives it a nice little Anyway, I'm going to put this on the end of the video so you'll have a nice contrast between the stuff that's filmed in the daytime and the stuff that's at night time with the lights. So it's a beautiful spot. It's weathered in quite well. It's been nearly a year now, and I sort of prefer it now. It's sort of a bit more lived in than when we built it, to be honest. Anyway, could sit and watch the fish for hours. Right, thanks for watching. Bye bye.